Good afternoon and good morning to everyone joining us today. We're welcoming you to our discussion on inclusive health insurance in low-income and fragile countries, building resilience in a changing world. Just a few housekeeping rules. We are recording the session today, and we will be sharing the recording after the webinar is completed. And please, if you have any questions or comments throughout the session today, please include them in the chat. And then we will be having an interactive Q&A with all of the speakers later on. Sarita, please move to the next slide. Thank you. So today our speakers will be sharing their experiences from Rwanda, Lebanon, and Bangladesh, and from around the world. SCBF has supported Vision Fund International to deliver technical assistance for inclusive health insurance products for vulnerable populations in these very different contexts in fragile and low-income countries. And as a result of these projects and early pilots in Malawi and Ghana, we've developed together some technical assistance resources, and Vision Fund has put together a toolkit as well to support financial service providers and other organizations to develop their own health microinsurance products. So today on our panel, we have Grace Dushimimana, the CEO of Vision Fund Rwanda. We have Coralie Zakar, the Assistant GM of Commercial Insurance Lebanon. We have Solène Favre, Global Director of Inclusive Insurance from Vision Fund International. And we have Dr. Raoul Matthew, the Director of Resource and Communications at World Vision Bangladesh. And myself, Azelia Karish, Learning and Insights Manager at SCBF, will be facilitating the discussion today. So to get into our topic today, health emergencies and out-of-pocket expenses for healthcare can have really devastating effects on individuals and their families. At the same time, insurance can be complicated to understand or undervalued as a safety net. There are numerous other challenges, affordability, understanding of the product, the opaque claims processes at times, insufficient coverage, and in an era marked by shifting, global economics and development aid being pulled out from different countries, we see insurance as a critical and vital role for vulnerable populations in developing their resilience and safety nets to protect those communities. SCBF is a member-led platform connecting public and private partners to advance responsible financial inclusion. We provide support in the form of expertise, partnerships, catalytic funding, and technical assistance to support financial service providers to pilot and scale various financial products for low-income communities, for MSMEs, for farmers, and we particularly focus on women and rural populations. So before we turn to our speakers, we'd like to share with you a testimonial from a client in Rwanda, Venuste, who is a farmer and who was part of a Vision Fund savings group and had access to a health insurance product developed by Vision Fund Rwanda.
abaganga banywa Venuste bagiye kureka bandi umuhinzi wose arakiranye n'abagenzi banjye ngishyirahamwe ubuhinzi bwa kawa tugomba gutanga ubwishingizi bibiri buri muntu batanze amafaranga banki nk'uko buri kwezi amafaranga ubwishingizi batubwiye ko ikibazo hora igihe cyarageze kandi umudamu wanjye yitabye Imana yaragurije amafaranga asigaye atangiye ku kigo abana barigaga muri Nyaba kandi bahata bashimira ko bakoze umutungo bose ubwishingizi bwiza gushishikariza abandi kugirira kandi nanjye bikaba byarangira hari aho byamvanye n'aho byanyereka byatumye aba abandi shima n'abantu babo
So apologies if the sound wasn't very coming through very good, but I think from the subtitles you can see that Venuste's experience it shows an important example of how health shocks can really be detrimental to a family, to an individual. So he explained that his wife had passed away. And the health and life protection that he had through Vision Fund Rwanda supported his family and his children to continue to go to school. And then he himself had a 3-month hospital stay for which he was able to be, reimbursed and also obtain some financial support to continue supporting his farming livelihood and also his children at school. So now I would like to turn over to Grace and to hear from your experience in Vision Fund Rwanda and some of the learnings and the unique challenges that you've had in providing insurance to savings groups. And if you can tell us a little bit about, the design, the challenges, and the operational rollout of the product in Rwanda.
Okay. Thank you very much, Azaria, and good morning and good afternoon, wherever you are. As Azaria said, I'm Grace Dushimana. I'm the CEO of Vision Fund Rwanda. Vision Fund Rwanda, maybe there are some who don't have much information about it. It's a microfinance affiliated to World Vision. We started our operation in Rwanda in 1997, and we got the license from the central bank to operate as a deposit-taking microfinance since 2004. We serve low-income clients living in vulnerable and rural communities by offering financial and livelihood solutions delivered through our network, our branch network, through World Vision and other partners. We empower families to create income and job and unlock economic potential for community to thrive. So the products that we offer fall into different categories: microloans, savings, insurance, financial education. Maybe for the sake of this webinar, I will just take you through the microinsurance products that we are offering specifically for the savings group. But just to give you a little background, we started the insurance operation in 2017, where we are just offering credit life or loan protection to VFR borrower, except the client in the savings group. From that period, we've been collecting feedback from our client in savings group. The majority of them were requesting to be considered in the insurance scheme. That's when we started to see how we can conduct an official survey just to assess the need. Then later on in 2021, with Vision Fund support, we conducted a field survey, which showed really a very high need of the insurance, whereby more than 70% of people surveyed in the savings group showed that they really need the coverage for the accident, health, and life. So in 2023, with the support of Swiss Capacity Building Facility, and of course, the technical guidance and support from the Vision Fund International, we developed a term life product for the savings group. Of course, we have to partner with the insurance. We have the partnership with the Sanlam. We developed that product, which was covering savings group, taking a loan for more than 400 USD, where the premium was only $0.16, with the benefit limited to 120 in case of death and permanent disability. So later on, of course, we made the follow-up survey just to assess really if the product is responding to the need of our clients. But it showed that despite that, in Rwanda, there is a national scheme in place, but still people are facing process in cases of hospitalization, such as loss of income, cost of transport and medicine. And it really showed a very high need to revamp the product and have the hospital cash coverage. Of course, through the support of Vision Fund International, SCBF, and of course, the technical support from the insurance, we managed to revamp this product just to have the coverage. And actually, one of the feedback that we collected from the client is that the first product was only covering the group member. But the second or the follow-up survey showed that there is a need even to cover the family member, mostly children and spouses. So we had to revise this product, and actually it is really working. So maybe to respond to the question or just to share with the experience, it was really a good experience that we learned from the experience in other MFI, especially from Malawi and Ghana. And we really have to work on this and revise or revamp the product. So what I can say, the model itself is really good, but serving the groups, with the group model, we were disbursing a loan to the group. We normally call it FAST, or Finance for Accelerating Savings for Transformation, commonly known as VSLA. We've been providing a loan to an entire group. So with this savings scheme, now we have to engage with the insurance company just to understand how now we're going to treat individual members. If we are not taking the KYC for each individual member, how can we make sure that in terms of, in case the claim is happening, we have all the necessary information to file the claim and to settle that? I know maybe just to share the experience, really working with the insurance closely and make sure that we fix all the claims, we hear the feedback from the client was very crucial to the success of the pilot, even the scale up. As we speak now, we started the scale up of this product to non-fast clients, and we are seeing the product really working well. So maybe I can say that we built from the learnings that we get from Malawi and of course for Ghana, where mandatory distribution promotes the adoption, and also focus on the groups, on the client feedback. That's where we introduce the family components, considering the children and spouse, and of course, investing in trainings. Because I know it was really a new product in our context, not only the client, even the staff themselves. It was somehow, if I can say, understanding the concept, the complexity of serving the group model, how we are going to track the information, how are you going to file the claim. We saw that investing in the staff and client training was very crucial for the success of this product. So as we speak, maybe you can go to the next slide. We've noted positive results so far. As you can see, we've already more than 2,000 groups enrolled. We're covering more than 135 people, and maybe the premium and the income is really also contributing to the VFR. But most important is the impact that we are creating to the savings group members. And as I speak, we are currently conducting the impact survey with the 6 decibels. I think next time we'll be speaking with proof from those results. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Grace, and apologies if you weren't able to see the slides. We seem to have had a bit of a technical issue. But that's very interesting to hear about the 60 decibels studies as well, because we've worked with Solène and the team in Malawi and Ghana as well to do some studies. And I think it shows a lot of positive results for the women reporting, or the health insurance users reporting, especially reduced stress, and that overall it's supporting them to stabilize their income and their livelihoods. And so next we'll move on to from Rwanda to Lebanon. So Coralie, we'd like to hear about your experience with Commercial Insurance Lebanon and developing microinsurance products. What inspired and motivated Commercial Insurance to develop microinsurance products for vulnerable communities in Lebanon, and what were some of the unique challenges working in your company?
Coralie Zakar, I'm heading the microinsurance department of Commercial Insurance in Lebanon. And we have been committed to developing microinsurance since almost 20 years. However, with Vision Fund, it was a totally different scenario, okay? When we started working together in 2018, 19, 20, there were many unique, unfortunate events happening in Lebanon. We had a total economic crisis. So just to give you some background, people couldn't access their money anymore in the banks, and we had a huge devaluation, and which meant that the healthcare totally collapsed as a result. So all third-party payers went bankrupt immediately. Okay, and this meant that many families were out of the healthcare system for quite some years. They couldn't even afford visiting a doctor. We saw, when there's an economic crisis, people also, unfortunately, the illiteracy increases, etc., etc. So whilst we knew that access to secondary and tertiary services was very costly, almost impossible, along with Vision Fund, we conducted an in-depth study. And the whole idea was, in order to address the current situation, we have to have a product that is, first of all, proactive. So whereby we will invite this community to come. We will talk later on about the product, but to come into this program to do their health checks, etc. It has to be inclusive. So we are going to take the population as they are without any exclusion. And the idea is we need to start working on prevention in order to have a healthier population who will need less secondary and tertiary services, and use and make good use of all the primary healthcare facilities that are there. So accompanying them in this program, okay, where we do their healthcare checkups, where we accompany them in the primary and we do education, will lead to a reduction of almost 80% for the need for tertiary and for secondary and tertiary services, and really to, of course, rely on the community. So to give you an idea of what we designed together, can we go to the next slide? Yeah, so what we designed was really a health management program. And as you are reading this program, please take into consideration that the population we were dealing with was a population that hasn't seen a doctor for the past 8 to even 10 years. Okay, so what we did is we went to this community. As we mentioned, it was proactive. We did a whole setup in schools, municipalities, where doctors, nurses were doing a first assessment of the children. Okay, based on that, we would recommend if they should go do follow-ups at primary healthcare centers. And these primary healthcare centers are almost free of cost. It's really very symbolic, the amount of participation. And they could also get medication. They could get a few imagery, a few diagnostic tests, which was enough to follow up on the case. In addition to that, we saw a huge need for education, and as I mentioned, there is unfortunately a literacy increase. So when people don't go to school, they are less educated on hygiene, on really basic things. So we did a lot of education in person as well as online, and we had follow-up teleconsultation. So these children, their parents, they could call and say, I went to the primary healthcare center, they recommended this, what are the next steps? So and we also followed up to make sure that they were following up these cases. There was a hotline. And so while designing this product, we thought that, okay, we are managing their health. However, accidents, they happen haphazardly. So we included a cover for personal accident. And this cover was very successful because they could go with their insurance policy to the hospital or to the laboratory, and we would do a direct billing. So there was really no need for out-of-pocket money. And I can say we almost eliminated any case of fraud, which is very important. And finally, in case of death, we would provide a family for the amount. And as you know, we had also the war in Lebanon, so we were also covering the war. And one last thing I would like to mention, actually, if we can go to the next slide. One of the key successes was that this whole project was digitized, so people could register on their mobiles, and when they went to hospital, they didn't need to look for their insurance. It was there on their mobile. So. And if they needed anything, if they forgot what the product was covering, everything was on their mobile. And nowadays, no one lives without his mobile, even in the poorest communities. And now these are a few pictures of the program. So as you can see, the whole setup was done in the schools. We had doctors, nurses, very friendly, and it was very important for the parents to be there to accompany their children. Next. Okay, so some outcomes. We had around 5,000 children enrolled. It was important that it would be equal, male and female. As I mentioned, it was all digitized. So the enrollment, we did virtual awareness. We could see who was clicking on the link, who was looking at it, or were they fully watching it, and they had an e-policy. If I can say a few statistics and challenges. It was a very successful product. So very quickly, families came to us and said that our community or other family members are interested to join. We still haven't accommodated for that. And when they started to really understand it and use it, they started saying, okay, can we pay a little bit extra and have even more benefits? And as I mentioned, the economic situation kept on worsening. We had the war. The war was very difficult because the areas in which we were working, they are rural, or they are areas where you have refugees or others, and these same areas were unfortunately targeted. So sometimes we couldn't arrive there, or we couldn't go or finish the job on time. We had to wait. And finally, all these microinsurance projects that we work on, they are very innovative. So the reinsurance becomes more challenging. Please, next. So with the success of the movie, I think we can share the link later on. But with the success of this project, along with Vision Fund, we decided to grow the project, and we started working with the largest microfinance institution in Lebanon. And we started by offering the personal accident cover. So in case, and what's very interesting is we are using the same principle. So no exclusion whatsoever. We cover all accidents 24/7. and all hospitals and laboratories in Lebanon. So again, they go with their insurance certificate to the hospital and we do a direct billing. So there's no waiting time, no out-of-pocket money, no need to go and get cash from the household. And it has been also, it's a growing project. We have around now 22,000 members. Every month it is growing by about 8,000. And we started to see they are starting to, with time, and I think this is the experience for everyone, they start to learn even more how to use their insurance. So now the number of claims has become quite significant. And this has allowed also the microfinance institution to provide some incentives to their loan agents. It is mandatory and it is paid upfront as they take the loan. Next. And this is just a final word. It's a group policy, mandatory, direct billing, and there's no exclusion whatsoever, no waiting period, all hospitals. And we always, along with Vision Fund, we aim, I mean, especially when we work together and we listen to their recommendations and their experiences worldwide, we aim to really not have any exclusion, because we want them to have a good experience. We want them to talk around in their community. And we know how important it is for them to talk positively and how one negative experience can affect the success of the project. And to conclude, this, of course, wouldn't have been possible without the support of the technical support of Vision Fund. And in very vulnerable and fragile communities, these products have had a huge impact. And we see the families who have been able to continue their economic activity.
Thank you, Coralie, for the explanation. I think we can get a lot into the details of how the product works, and there are so many, different elements coming into play with telemedicine, the digital aspect. And maybe just one clarification: when you talk about digital, are people accessing it through their mobile phones or through a website, or how are they accessing?
No, we did it through their mobile phones, through an application.
Okay. And I think we have some follow-up questions, and that we'll come back to during the question and answer session. I can see one from Gift and one coming in from Jacqueline. We'll come back to you on those questions. And so we'll move on now to Solène. So I think, Vision Fund International now has you have a global network, and you've had experience across the world. We've mentioned some early pilots in Malawi and Ghana, and also Rwanda now, and Lebanon, and then finally in Bangladesh as well. So maybe, Solène, can you kind of share with us some of the highlights of Vision Fund's journey in developing microinsurance and specifically health insurance, and also, your approach to technical assistance in working with different types of financial service providers and organizations that are interested in launching these types of products with vulnerable populations?
Yeah, thank you, Zelia, and good morning, good afternoon, everyone. So I'm very glad to share with you today how Vision Fund International is working in microinsurance and how the support of SCBF has enabled us to innovate and to grow. So as you said, Azalia, Vision Fund International is the microfinance arm of World Vision. We work through a network of 25 MFI in 25 countries. You just hear Grace from Vision Fund Rwanda. So we are present in 25 countries, providing small loans and financial services to low-income families. World Vision itself is present in more than 80 countries worldwide and reaching some of the most vulnerable children and communities. Our core business at Vision Fund has always been credit, but from the beginning, we realized that credit alone was not enough. Families face a risk that can undo all the progress in an instant. So at first we introduced insurance simply to protect our loan portfolio in case a borrower passed away, but we quickly understood this was too limited. So families also need protection for illness, accident, education, crops, livestock, even climate shocks. So that's why today Vision Fund offers a broad range of 11 types of insurance products covering people, assets, and livelihoods. This is the gray part here. We have 2.3 million clients on the MFI side. Now, as we grew, we also realized that insurance should not only serve Vision Fund borrowers, but together with World Vision, we began to extend the coverage to savings group members. This is what Grace mentioned, and just Azalea, you just mentioned about Ghana and Malawi. With the support of SCBF, we could start providing insurance to the savings group in Ghana and Malawi. And then we extended that for the savings group of Rwanda. You have Grace just talking about it. We also extended our coverage to the most vulnerable children, sponsored by World Vision, and this is the mark that you have here, starting in June 23. Coralie talked about it. We started with Lebanon, Ghana, Tanzania as well, and we learned from that, and now we are also extending to Bangladesh and Zambia. Along the way, we were very lucky to have such good partners like Coralie. I don't know if you have noticed, but no individual form filling, no waiting period, no exclusion. All hospitals in Lebanon, for example, for this example of commercial insurance, I think this is a real added value that the partnership that we built with local insurance providers can bring on the table, and it really makes a difference. So we are very lucky to have good partners, such as commercial insurance, but also Sanlam and many others. We have globally 55 different partnerships with insurance companies. On this journey, SCBF support has made a real difference with the financial support that they brought us. We were able to recently test and launch innovative insurance solutions, even beyond our own ecosystem, partnering with Al Majmoua, as Coralie mentioned, an MFI, the leading MFI in Lebanon. So that experience has allowed us to refine our model and expand it further, even in countries where Vision Fund and World Vision have no presence. Without SCBF, we would not have had the opportunity to take these bold steps and reach new frontiers. For vulnerable children here, sponsored by World Vision, the premium is subsidized by World Vision for a period of 2 years. But our biggest challenge is making sure those most vulnerable families can continue to access insurance in a sustainable way. Paying a full premium upfront is very difficult for many households. That's why we are developing a nano savings product, and Raoul, we will talk just after from Bangladesh. We'll talk about it. But the overall model is that this allows families to save small amounts regularly, for example, 1/12 of the premium each month, so they can continue their coverage without being overwhelmed by the upfront payments. This innovation, allowed by SCBF, is helping us move from short-term subsidized protection toward long-term self-sustaining solutions. So beyond our own operation, we have packaged all these lessons into a practical toolkit and a technical assistance model. We now support other MFI outside of Vision Fund network, other NGOs outside of World Vision network by training their trainers, but also offering a hands-on expertise in the field and guiding them step by step in the design, the implementation, and the rollout of their own products. This way, the benefits of microinsurance can extend far beyond our own network. So you have here the testimony from Abed Mukadem from Al Majmoua, Lebanon. So I will read that for you. Building a sustainable microinsurance product was a long journey for us, with many challenges along the way. Through our collaboration with VFI and commercial insurance, we were able to design and launch a product in a very short period, very short time, that truly meets the needs of our clients. Over the past year, Our outreach has grown significantly, allowing thousands of vulnerable families, including victims of passive war, to benefit from protection against unexpected shocks. This has not only strengthened our portfolio, but also enhanced the resilience and confidence of our clients. This story for us captures well what we are striving for. With SCBF support, Vision Fund has been able to innovate, expand, share our expertise, and now pack that in a technical assistance model with a very strong support that everyone can benefit. We have developed this toolkit, and this toolkit will be available for those who need it. So just contact SCBF to get this toolkit. Together, we are protecting families, strengthening resilience, and enabling communities to thrive, even in the face of unexpected shocks. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Solène. And as Solène mentioned at the end, we will share the contact information so that you can get in touch and we can share the resources and the tools that Vision Fund has developed, which I think are extremely valuable because, yeah, being able to work in such different contexts and provide these types of products, I think it's extremely important to have some of those lessons that you've already learned that can be, support the pilots and scaling up those products in new places. And one of which, so we can move on to Bangladesh, and we'll hear from Raul, so working with World Vision, so it's a bit of a different context as well, working with sponsored families to develop a savings product and then also offering them a health insurance protection. So Raul, I can let you take.
Thank you, Azalea. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Rahul Matthew from World Vision, Bangladesh. Thank you for this opportunity to briefly share our journey with Extra Cover Project. It's an initiative aimed at improving health and financial resilience for the vulnerable families in Bangladesh. Bangladesh has made tremendous progress in health and poverty reduction, but for millions of low-income families, even small medical costs trigger devastating consequences. So most families actually rely on out-of-pocket payments, almost 60% of the total healthcare spending, which forces many into cycles of debt or missed care. Insurance penetration in Bangladesh is around 0.5%. That's a gap you're trying to address by offering something which is very simple, trustworthy, and community-embedded insurance solution. Next. Thanks to the technical assistance from Vision Fund International and the Swiss Capacity Building Fund, we were able to co-design a basic yet powerful insurance product. It includes life coverage, hospital cash, telemedicine, and also discounts, including lab diagnostics and outpatient discounts, designed for affordability and ease of access. We've secured premium subsidies for close to 5,500 vulnerable families to date, and we're working towards scale. But access alone isn't enough. That's where financial inclusion comes in. To make this solution more sustainable, we are trying to introduce a nano savings model, which is voluntary. It's a flexible savings scheme that helps families build up the funds needed to pay premiums annually on their own and not a subsidized model. These will be digitally enabled through partners like bKash, which is one of the largest mobile financial service providers in Bangladesh, and also a banking partner who we are currently in discussion with. Most importantly, the deposits align with real household cash flow patterns, enabling dignity and also financial ownership. So think of this more like a piggy bank in your pocket, but one which leads into a protection. How does it work in the field? So our facilitators are engaging with communities, they're raising awareness. They help open the families' digital savings accounts where the families set up and deposit small amounts on a monthly basis. It could be around $2 every month. Once they reach the premium amount, we facilitate the payment of this through a locked nano savings account. And the insurance coverage is then activated through our partner, Milvik, which is a Swedish-based company which is providing insurance and also telemedicine services. We have seen mothers save just 50 taka at a time through their existing formal and informal mechanisms. But over the year, that builds towards protection to keep their children safe from a medical crisis. And each of this we have a lot of early lessons and challenges. We are trying to build trust in insurance products, which significantly takes a lot of time, especially in a low development context like Bangladesh. Digital access has been very ununiform, especially with the fact that most of the women do not have actually digital access or even access to smartphones. We are trying to learn how to also simplify the savings pathway and increase financial literacy in the process. And we are working to coordinate among partners better because this is a very new product of its own. So trying to get an understanding and ownership between the entire ecosystem has been something that we're also learning in the process. The next slide. But the early signs have been very promising. And more importantly, the families actually want this particular product, and having the nano savings adds on to that. So this is just the system that is getting into a rhythm at this point of time. So looking ahead, what we're trying to do is to be able to see if we can expand this particular initiative of both the micro insurance for health along with telemedicine, along with the nano savings concept beyond our existing pilot locations and spread it across Bangladesh. So we're working very closely with the ecosystem, both with the mobile financial service providers, with the banking partners, and most importantly, with the community at the time. So we want to include and embed a savings insurance model into the broader financial inclusion. And also we want to explore blended financing so that the donor subsidies, once they phase out, the community ownership actually takes root. So in the end, I want to leave one reflection. Insurance is no more anymore a luxury, rather it's a right of the people. But we need to reimagine how to serve the people who are the most needy. So this consortium or this partnership that we're working is actually trying to help us to do that. Thank you. Back to you, Azalea.
Thank you, Raul. And I think the aspects around trust and awareness, I think that you've brought up are extremely important, especially when you're working with digital tools as well. So I'll be keen to hear a bit more about that in the Q&A. But maybe now we'd like to involve the audience and hear from your perspective. We've prepared a bit of a poll, which I'll just launch right now. So you can, we have two questions for you. The first is, what do you see as the biggest barrier to scaling inclusive insurance? And so it should be on your screen now. And the second question, if you scroll down, then you can start to answer, where do you see the greatest potential for inclusive insurance in the next 2 to 3 years in your country? So I'll just leave that up for a few more seconds, and then we can close the poll, and we'll have some reflections on the poll. So I can see we have about 24%, 30% participated, and speakers, please feel free to participate as well. Sorry, I don't think I can relaunch the poll just for one response. But you... Okay, so it looks like everyone's responded, so I'll end the poll there and share the results. So you should be able to see the results now. So for question 1, what do you see as the biggest barrier to scaling inclusive insurance? It looks like 71% are saying lack of awareness or trust in insurance, and 54% are saying affordability of premiums. And maybe after that, we have around 17% saying challenges with claims, 13% limited infrastructure or access to healthcare services. Okay. And where do you see the greatest potential for inclusive insurance in the next 2 to 3 years in your country? So about 60% are saying health and life coverage, 50% agricultural insurance, 30% is income protection, emergency and disaster risk. And then at the end, we have micro and small enterprise insurance and migration or displacement context. Okay. Thank you for sharing your feedback on the poll. And so then I think maybe we can bring it back to our speakers. And Solène, maybe can you reflect a little bit on what you think are some of the barriers or opportunities for scale, and yeah, where the biggest barrier is for scale and inclusive insurance?
Yes, sure, Azalea. So I agree with the majority of people answering lack of awareness and trust. I think this is really key. Education of our own staff to first really understand what is the product about, what are the benefits and all, but also, of course, education of clients and beneficiaries for them to really use the product. I think we, of course, as an implementer, we have a high responsibility into that, to train, to educate, but also to double check. It means double checking means also monitoring the claim ratio, for example, for the claim ratio not to be too low, to really see the value, and to check also on the satisfaction through impact survey and satisfaction survey, to make sure that the product understand needs of people and answer the needs of people.
Yeah, so really looking at the product fit and meeting the customer needs.
And checking again with them, As you could see from Grace's presentation, we started with a funeral product because it was the most affordable one, and we were thinking like it's like the basis. So we started with this funeral benefit only for the savings group member, not for the family. And very quickly after like 4 or 5 months, we did this survey, and everyone was asking for Hospicash. So really going back, asking people what do they think about the product, what is their satisfaction, how we can improve things is really key. So it's not only on the product design, but also going again and again to people to really understand what they want and what they expect and what we can offer depending on that.
Yeah, and so building on that, Grace, for the second question, in terms of the greatest potential for inclusive insurance in the next couple of years, where do you see maybe in Rwanda the potential for evolving the product, or is health insurance really the biggest product in demand? Do you see that evolving even more, or do you see other products kind of coming on and adding value to that health insurance product?
Thank you very much, Azalea, for that good question. Just to share the experience in a Rwandan context, and especially with Vision Fund Rwanda, I'm seeing the great potential, especially for the health and Hospicash insurance products, basing just on the experience. Because when we started the survey, we had the confusion, I can call it confusion, that no, we not see the product will not be successful because we have the government compulsory scheme. No, there was that confusion. But for me, I think that the time that we took to understand the client's needs, to develop the product, we are seeing the huge potential here. We started the pilot with the first or the savings group client. Currently, we are doing the scale up to the non-first, to the individual client, even to the clients in the other group that we are serving. And to the point that we are even planning to do the scale up to non-borrowers, because we've seen that there is huge potential for this product, for the scale up. And maybe for this open up our mind, because we had also the same understanding that, even for the agriculture, there is government scheme, but we found that there is always potential to have innovation, to improve the product, to respond to the need, because the need for the products being there for the insurance, for the loan, they're always there. So looking at where we are currently, especially for Hospicash insurance product, we've started with World Vision as NGO, but currently we're seeing other NGOs coming in, Compassion International, Care International. There is a huge potential. And actually, I was discussing with the team, they're saying we have to prepare ourselves to serve and meet the needs for this market, because the market is there. There is a potential to have a diversity in providing the insurance product, being with Vision Fund in Rwanda and even the countrywide. Thank you.
Azalia, if I can just add something, I need to tell you a secret. It's just between all of us. So Grace was not so much convinced by the health and Hospicash at the beginning when we started the conversation with Vision Fund Rwanda. But today she is one of our best ambassadors and really pushing outside of Vision Fund World Vision ecosystem. So yeah, this is really great.
Thank you.
It also shows the power of the value of this type of product, right? For the customers and for the beneficiaries.
Sure.
So maybe we'll come back now to some of the questions that have been posed throughout your presentations. So Coralie, for example, we have a question about how does the telemedicine consultation work? Who pays for the cost of the call and how effective is it?
What we did in the first phase, the one that I presented, is we did follow-up teleconsultations, which meant that the nurses or the doctors were themselves calling the people enrolled in the program. However, when we started envisioning to add teleconsultations, the idea was that it would be done through an application. So there wouldn't be the cost of the call, there would be the internet data consumption.
And do you have a sense of how effective it is in providing medical care via phone?
I mean, it's definitely a very, very efficient tool, and we are seeing it more and more. Even in private insurances, they are starting to include the 24/7 teleconsultations. So and teleconsultation has a lot of advantages in the communities we work with, because they reduce the cost of transportation. The need to have someone to stay with the baby while they take their other child. It avoids many mistakes, because the communities in which we work with, they start with, unfortunately, trial and error. So they start self-medication, then they ask their neighbor, then they go to the pharmacy when really things seems very bad and they just want to pay the cost of the medicine, and then they go to the doctor. So by the time they go to the doctor, their case has extremely worsened. So if you give them access to the doctors as a first point of contact, I think this would actually have huge savings, both on their health and on their pocket, and in terms of efficiency.
Thank you very much. I can see a thumbs up from Gift. Thank you. And we have another question from Jacqueline, I think from Kenya. So she's saying, can you elaborate on how you eliminated fraud in the process? They're designing a mutual for women savings groups in Kenya, and fraud is one of the things that they're trying to find ways to work around, especially with using technology.
So what we have done is we're an insurance company, and we work with third-party administrators who are present in all the hospitals and laboratories in Lebanon. So we have decided that we are going to use them in order to do direct billing. So as soon as they go to the hospital, they would pass by our TPA and say, I fell down, I broke my hand, I had a motorbike accident, whatever the accident is. And then they would work on the verification in terms of ID, name, lists, etc. And they would do the direct billing. So there's no cash circulating. And the fact that there's no cash circulating, it helps a lot. Now, of course, there are always certain cases, to be realistic, in which we need to do reimbursement, because sometimes, they don't go to Next Care, or sometimes they go to rural hospital where they are not necessarily extremely familiar with our product. So mistakes do happen and we have to go through reimbursement, but they are extremely minimal. And the direct billing, I think, is a way to definitely reduce fraud.
Thank you. And if you have any other questions, please feel free to add them on the chat. I think we have room for one more. Maybe Raul, can you talk to us a little bit more about how you, with nano savings or any kind of digital savings, I think it's often important as well to kind of have some kind of nudges or some encouragement for the users to continue saving. Are there any types of, you know, behavioral nudge messages, SMS messages being sent out, or how do you encourage those users to continue saving and then, you know, getting the access and making that link and understanding the access to the insurance?
Azalea, thank you for that question. We are in the early stages of designing and launching the digital part of this product, but we have an MOU signed with the largest mobile financial services provider in country called bKash. So they have bKash agents in each of the locations. So they actually go to the community to actually collect the money. So it makes sure that there is a person who's actually collecting the money, because the ones that we are working with are the bottom of pyramid. When we look at our clients, currently we have around 6,000 clients that we work with. Hardly 10% actually have smartphones. Most of them have only a button phone or a CDMA phone that we call it. So while we send these SMSs and reminders, it also is important that we have the physical presence. And this particular project is not working in a vacuum. There is also other programming which World Vision does in this particular location, because it is long-term sponsorship projects that we are working with. So there is already existing community groups which are formed. Some of them which also do savings at the local level. So that also is an add-on feature to it. So a lot of this is working in tandem, both with the different consortium partners, and also ensuring that the community is getting more awareness. And there is also when you talk about the technology side of things, our telemedicine service provider is actually calling them on a regular basis, especially when you have a patient which has diabetes, or someone who has hypertension, or there is someone who's pregnant. So that actually means there is a regular care pathway. So they are calling on their behest on a regular basis to check how you're taking the medications, is there an immunization issues? So all of these are also becomes like regular reminders of sort. So during that time, they also mention to them, are you saving regularly for your premiums as such? So there are multiple different touch points that we're looking at, both offline and online in the process as well.
Thank you, Raul. So I think that brings us to the end of our session, and I think that wraps up nicely as well. I think a lot of these products, even though they can leverage technology in order to reach new populations, they really do require a bit of that human presence, whether it's physical or on the phone, in supporting communities to really optimize the value of savings and insurance products. So I'd like to invite each of the speakers, if you could, to kind of wrap up this session, provide your one recommendation, one or two maximum recommendations to other organizations wanting to launch a new insurance product. What would you recommend them as the kind of key for launching the product and making it successful? So why don't we start with Grace, and then Coralie, and Solène, and Raul. Thank you.
Yeah, just two things that I can comment. Listen to the client voice. It is very important and very crucial to listen to the client. And there is no static product. There is always room to improve as you get the feedback from the client. That's the first recommendation. Secondly, invest in training to the team. I know most of the time we are struggling with the budget and so on, but it is very crucial and important to invest in the training for the staff, for them to embrace the product, for them to embrace the process. Then, of course, the product awareness in the communities that we are serving. Those are my 2 recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you. Coralie? I think you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. So I was opening up my slide on the key success factors. So first of all, one key recommendation is always to work with good and technical assistance. The reason is maybe your partner, meaning the microfinance institution or the NGO or the organization you work with, thinks there's a certain need, you think there's another need. So technical assistance to really go on the ground, understand the exact need, and to baseline the situation, I think is crucial. The second thing is to design really easy products, the very, very simple product, to eliminate exclusions, because we don't read insurance policies. So what about the population that we are dealing with? And to create positive experiences. I think these are I think the key. And of course, I think that the fact that you are working with a group or with mandatory insurances, reduces the risk of anti-selection, and thus you can really make simple products with no exclusions. And one last thing, the final one is we should make the claims simple, quick, and accessible. So the claims procedure should never be neglected, because this is when they will test the insurance.
Thank you very much. I think I agree. It's a critical point on the client journey, that the claims process should work smoothly. So Solène and then Raoul.
Yeah, so my recommendation would be bold, think big, start simple, scale quickly, and reach out to us for support.
Very nice. Raoul?
My 2 cents, I think the first one, what Grace also mentioned, don't just design for the poor, design with them. That is really important. The second one that I would say is access to insurance must be matched with their ability to actually pay for it, because then only we have sustainability. So these are my 2 cents.
Right. Thank you very much to all of you for your insights and recommendations, and to the audience, thank you for joining us and listening in, participating with your questions and in the poll. And if you're interested to learn more, please do contact us. As I mentioned, we have resources and toolkits that have been prepared by Vision Fund based on all of these different experiences in different contexts, that we can share and really bring together all of these recommendations, and can support you in developing your health insurance products. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Everyone.
Thank you. Bye.